Hello everyone, this is Akshat and I am back with another interview experience. Today I'll be talking about IIM Raipur Interview experience. So my interview was again scheduled in Lucknow. This was scheduled in the Hotel Laventry and so yes, I also had for this I had the morning slot actually. So yes, I had to reach very early. The reporting time was about 8 a.m. I reached at the hotel at about 7:30. So again, downstairs there was a waiting lobby and we could, sit there while the clock struck 8. And once it was time, we were told to report to the first floor, right? We were allowed to take our bags and everything with us to the first floor. There, they had like a waiting hall. You would have seen the picture. If I have clicked a picture, I'll put it up on the screen. And there was a representative from IIM Raipur. He came in and he briefed us basically about the process, what all was going to happen. So here we had a GD and then a PI scheduled, right? So firstly, we had to fill an application form by registering for IIM Raipur and we had to add a hard copy of it, right? So he asked us, the representative, that whether all of us had the hard copy or not, and there were about 3 or 4 students who did not have the hard copy. So he asked them to maybe blink it, and because it was a must to have the hard copy, right? So then the document verification. I think there was like no document verification as such, just that you had to have this application form and the government ID. And then there was a sheet that was circulated, and on that sheet our panel number was written basically, and we had to sign on that sheet. That was kind of an attendance sheet, but the panel number was mentioned on that sheet. And then I was assigned, I think, panel 2, batch 1. There were 2 panels and batches, batch 1, batch 2. There were about 34 people in my slot. Okay. And then we proceeded after some time. I think we proceeded for the GD. And mine was, I think, on the floor above that. I think on the second floor. In one hotel room, I think they had booked. And we had to go in there. So there were 3 panelists sitting there. And there was like, I think in my GD, there were about...
There was 6 or 7 people in the GD. So there was like chairs in like a circle, right? And on every chair there was a number tag there, so you had to sit there. So I think my number was number 3 in my panel, so I had to sit there, and then I had to wear that tag, and that tag was showing here, like big number 3 was written, and they had clearly mentioned that your tag number should be clearly visible to the panelists. So you had to sit in a way such that it was clearly visible. And very professional it was. There was a proper notepad given to us, a proper pencil given to us, so you do not have to carry anything basically. Just a government ID, I think you have to carry, you have to show that. And after that, we were given the topic basically, and we were told that you have to discuss amongst ourselves. The panelists would be observing, but you have to discuss amongst yourself, right? This is a group discussion basically. So our topic, I think it was fairly easy. It was ethics of influencer marketing, a very hot topic. I think everyone has a fair idea about this. So we were given about 1.5 to 2 minutes to think on this and jot down some points on a notepad. So I just got to thinking, I just jotted down a few points, and then we were told that we could start the discussion. So I waited for a second, I saw that no one was starting, so I started. So I started that how influencers are important in today's society and how they have a huge audience and they can really influence the people if done in a right way, and how companies approach influencers basically to market their products. And then we slowly got to the ethics point, that yes, there should be certain guidelines, and we should not, we should respect basically some boundaries, right? And then there were examples given of the Poonam Pandey case and how she faked her own death. Then this Samirana thing also, how he went, not this latent episode, but how he went to, I remember, an event of an academy and he was taking the rival's name and whether that is ethical or not. We touched upon this. Then there was also some beautiful points put up that we have to, see which demographic we are targeting, which age group we are targeting, which type of product we are marketing, which country we are in, right? So suppose there's a Middle Eastern country, maybe they are not as liberal as some of the other countries. In US it's a different thing. India is still, progressing slowly, and basically some of us have conservative thoughts, so we have to respect the audience that we are targeting. So like this, we were always at a consensus. I think the GD went pretty smooth. Everybody had the same kind of thoughts, and back to back everybody presented their thoughts. Everybody got a chance. There was, I think, only one girl in our panel. All the other were boys. She got a little late entry, but I think her articulation was very, very beautiful. She had some really great articulation skills, and me and one other guy who was from, I think, Kanpur, we got along very well before the GD as well, and we complimented each other, and there were other people as well. One of the guys sitting beside me also had a late entry, but I think he got 2 or 3 entries. I personally had 3 or 4 entries, and I started as well, so I'm hoping that I got some brownie points for that. So the GD went very smooth.
All the members that were in my panel, we got around on the first floor. We were offered coffee, there was tea, and there was some biscuits. So we chatted a bit over coffee. We bonded really well. All the students, I think, in my panel had exceptional knowledge, and we actually ended up bonding very well. I even am connected with some of them on Instagram now. So yes, and then I think my interview was at number 3. Yes, number 3. I had the number 3 tag. So yes, before me there were 2 people, and so I was waiting before my interview just outside the room. And in this case, the panelists who took our GD were the same who took our PI as well, right? So that was something unique, because in none of the interviews before or after this, the GD panelists and the PI panelists were never the same. So this is something that I found in IIM Raipur case only. So they were already familiar, I think, about us a little bit. So we had to take our folder in and then.
But before that, I want to mention one thing. When I was waiting, I think the person who went before me, he was getting grilled on something. I could hear from the outside that maybe he had flunked some subject in his UG, and that is why he hadn't brought his mark sheets, and they had actually, caught on to this fact. So I would suggest that even if you had flunked something, or just be honest about everything, because if they catch on to something like this, then they grill you really badly, and then that leaves a very bad impression, and that would basically, basically limit your chances of getting in a premier institution, right? So just be honest about everything. So once I got in, I had all my documents there. I handed over the file to one person. There were 3 panelists, as I mentioned. All 3 were male. I think all 3 were in their mid-30s, or maybe one of them was in their 40s. And then they again told me to introduce myself. I had the structured answer, and then once again my interview revolved around me, my city, Prayagraj, a bit of Kumbh Mela. They asked me how are the management there, and basically what is the ground reality, and these are some of the questions that I always get asked, that if you were the manager, what you could have done better at managing such a big festival, religious festival. Then again, about my undergrad subjects, as I always mention, blockchain, I was asked a few questions about that, proof of work, proof of stake. And then again, the Bitcoin white paper, here also I was asked whether it's a real person or not. This is a question that I have been asked twice now. And then why MBA? Why MBA after computer science? One of the panelists seemed very perplexed about this, that computer science engineering, why not pursue, a job in your field only, and why this switch? So you have to have these answers, you have to have prepared, and sometimes they'll be persistent, but you don't have to budge, right? Don't budge from your answer, have a prepared answer about this. And then again, current affairs, about the policies, this Trump thing, this also came up, and 1 or 2 again questions about which specialization will choose, why MBA. Again, very short, I think around 9 or 10 minutes my interview was there, and they seemed satisfied, and they smiled. They said that's it from our side. And contrastingly, the person who went before me, he was apparently grilled a lot, but I think my interview was fairly straightforward, fairly conversational, very chill. I did not feel any stress at all. And yes, and that was it. And then I asked them whether I could leave. I am done with the process. They said yes. And then I left. I talked to some of the other fellow panelists, and some of their again interviews were short, and then some were grilled. So again, it depends on the luck and what panel you get. So you have to be prepared for everything, and sometimes luck also plays a factor, but if you are prepared for everything, I feel like you'll do well. Just treat it as a normal conversation, as I always say. So all the best to everyone who is appearing, and I hope this has helped you in some way or the other. And stay tuned, maybe I'll upload other interview experiences as well. Thank you so much for watching.